when is in a person's life the ideal time, right? Let's just say they're getting done with their schooling, however far they take that. They're getting into the workforce or starting business, and they're going, should one of their first things they do be saying, okay, let's get this aside and then I can just maintain it and keep it up to date over the years? Or
yeah, I mean, it becomes, obviously, the older you become, the more desperate it becomes. I mean, it blows my mind that, people call us and say, my mum's in a hospital bed. She has dementia. She only has 2 days to live. We need a will. It's like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
You've left it till then.
You've missed the mark a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So
what about for those folks that feel like they don't have anything that they're going to leave behind?
First off, the chances are your will's not going to come into effect today, right? Yeah. So you're going to accumulate assets throughout your life. So, and you're not, it's an important point to know that you don't list all of your assets in your will. So you don't have to update your will every time you buy a snowblower. Like you don't have to, it's your estate that you're dealing with.
Okay.
But also your will does a little bit more than that. It names an executor. You're putting someone in charge. That's probably one of the most important things it does. So, because what happens is if you die without a will, the first thing that happens is everybody looks at each other and says, okay, what? Who's doing what? Like, hey, why are you taking that? Well, he said I could have his guitar. It's like, well, no, hang on. He said I could have, and all of it, everyone's pointing at each other, and especially for parents with adult children, all of a sudden it's like, well, they said I could have the painting above the fireplace, and it's like, hang on, somebody's got to take a breath, settle down. Somebody's got to make an inventory of the assets. And let's start working through the process. We don't all just dive in and help ourselves. So naming an executor is important. And if you do have young children, naming a guardian for those children is a really important part of the will. And without that, if something were to happen to both parents, who's looking after your children? And that's written into your will as well. Yeah,
that's a big one. That is a big one. You just punched me in the gut there, Tim. Thanks for that. Appreciate that.
Yeah, you're very welcome. But I can tell you as well, when people step through our service, we can see where people drop off. And these are the questions that people stop and pause and want to come back later because they say, ooh, naming a guardian for my children. Well, I know my sister's expecting that, but really, I don't want it to be my sister. Let's just step away and maybe even not come back to it because it's too difficult a decision. But if you're not making that decision, a judge in a courtroom's making a decision, and you don't want that either.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that because I can see where people are getting through that process and the tough question. Now I've got to. It's almost like in my head I'm picking favorites, but I've got to be in a place where I got to make the right decision, not necessarily the decision that's best for somebody else. Yes, what would make my sister most happy is to become the guardian because that's what she wants. But what's her lifestyle like? What's it going to be like? How, that kind of thing. So
yeah, wow. Do they share your values? Are they politically aligned? Like, there's a number of touchy-feelies that certainly if somebody independent was making that decision on your behalf and they're going to say, okay, what's your income? Where do you live? Okay, that sounds good. You're up. Whereas to you, there may be, like you say, if you're a churchgoer, maybe that's important to you. That's important to the way your children are raised.
So knowing that, when we know data, that excites me because I love knowing data about my business and where things get blocked off. Knowing that, how do you head it off at the pass? What are you guys doing to solve that issue? Is there something you do to kind of prep the person mentally when they come into this? Like, make sure you've thought about this, or listen, make a decision now. You can come back to it later. What's that look like?
So there's a couple of things we do. Firstly, we say, it's funny because on our website, we say, you can complete this in 20 minutes and you really can, but you don't have to. There's no rush. There's no, but we do say, get started. Because usually people will say, well, I've got to get all of my information together. No, just get started.
Is there a commitment before someone gets started on it so that they feel that commitment? Hey, I better finish this. You know what I mean?
we're going to email you. Like if you don't get it done, we'll send you a reminder saying, hey, don't forget, you were really doing well with your will. Come back and get it done, because if you don't get it done, like all of the things I've discussed, you don't have one. So we will email you after once you get started. But the other thing we do is we partner with businesses like financial institutions, charities, employee assistance programs. We partner with a lot of these organizations that are trying to encourage people to step up as an adult a little bit. And it's like, okay, you've got your life insurance in place. Now it's time to write a will. We even companies like real estate companies, like you bought a house. Well, you should have a will.
I should think about this. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's part of it, of being an adult. So partnering with businesses are not necessarily, funeral homes, those your final demise type companies. They're more like responsible adulting type companies.
Yeah. Interesting. Hey, folks, thanks for checking out this clip from the Business Line podcast. For more great clips, click here and click over here for full episodes.